to stop fear-mongering about a phantom epidemic of election fraud.
Right now, a spokesman with the state attorney's office says those responsible for illegally requesting the absentee ballots could face a third-degree felony.
To stop fear-mongering about a phantom epidemic of election fraud.
First of all, there are many irregularities with a lot of disproportion between the amount of people who voted at some of these polling precincts and the actual amount of ballots that were counted.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
The report coming to us from the Washington Post finds large numbers of non-citizens have been casting illegal votes, and they're doing it in the numbers large enough to affect elections.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
In Troy, New York, 8 Democrats, among them some public officials, have been indicted. 4 have pled guilty so far. The scheme allegedly faked absentee ballots, they say, to try and steal an election.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
So you didn't write that?
I did not.
You didn't cast a ballot?
I did not.
Did you vote?
No.
Did you fill out an absentee ballot?
Nope.
Did you fill out an absentee ballot application?
Nope, I didn't fill out any of those.
So your vote was a fraud?
It was.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
3 people have now been charged after a string of voter fraud allegations during the 2012 presidential election.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
Well, she admitted voting twice in the presidential election last November, and now Obama supporter Meloise Richardson has been indicted for voting 6 times.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
You see, the problem with the machines is whoever has custody of the machines has a tremendous advantage if they choose to manipulate the election.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
Investigators in Minnesota are now probing whether some college students trying to, quote, get out the vote may have actually broken the law in doing so on Election Day. The students are associated with a very influential political organization that wants to keep Democrats and President Obama in power.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
5% of the country votes with machines like this, right?
Yes, that's right.
And you are able to hack into it in 10 seconds.
It takes only a few seconds to insert a computer virus into this voting machine.
But how technologically savvy do you have to be a hacker to do this? I mean,
you have to be able to write computer programs,
yep.
Which a lot of people can do.
Sure.
You need to be able to open up this door on the side, which anybody can do, and that's about it.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
2 election supervisors take action tonight after an NBC2 investigation uncovers flawed record-keeping and human error allowing people who are not citizens of the United States to vote.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
Have you voted before?
Right. I vote every year.
Hinako Danette is not a U.S. citizen, yet the Cape Coral resident is registered to vote.
Do you know that you're not supposed to vote if you're not a U.S. citizen?
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.
Justice for hundreds of Florida voters as a man from Washington state admits he tried to keep local Republicans from turning out to vote in the 2012 presidential election.
Now he could be headed to prison.
Phantom epidemic of election fraud.